right. I think we are all set to go. Um, Sorry, this is a new this setup. I'm using OBS Studio or Broadcast or something like that. Basically, I'm not using my phone today to do the live stream. I am going through my computer, which is actually taking in three sources of video. Hold on, let me just focus my camera real quick. It's kind of out of focus. Okay, there we go. So I might have to do that from time to time, but let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everyone, to the Open Studio Design Session. Today we have slightly different setup here. I'm using OBS again. I think I mentioned that earlier in the stream, but it's basically I'm using my computer now to take in three separate streams of video, and we got our main camera here, which is the iPhone 12 Pro Max that I'm using. That's also my audio source today, but eventually I'll upgrade that in the future. But for now, it is what it is. I also have my Logitech Stream Cam, which is mounted above my monitor, so that'll give you a face-to-face kind of view, so you can see me in the corner of the screen there. But we also have a third stream of video, which is the A7R 4 that I'm using. It's losing focus. I don't know why. I think let me just change that to manual focus right now. And yeah, there we go. All right, so I think with manual it'll just stay as is and be good. I think we can kind of see everything here. There's a little bit of lag in the stream, so I apologize for that. I believe it's like about a minute from when I talk to when it appears on YouTube. But also the purpose of this today's stream is to both test out this new setup and get a little bit more work done for this YX10 Astra M1 that we are working on. Hopefully it's also in 1080p, which is what I was aiming for with the mobile YouTube app, but it didn't let me stream in 1080p. So now I'm relying on OBS to, hard set that, resolution setting. So, hopefully all of that works out. Let me know if there's any stream issues. Let me know if there are any, issues in general. I do have the live chat feature up and open on my left monitor right here. On my right monitor is my, OBS, the actual application. But I'll respond to your live chats. It's gonna be a little bit laggy. It's gonna approximately, I can't speak today. It's approximately gonna be about 1 minute behind the actual live feed here. So just a heads up. Benjamin Rogers says nice 1080p and 3 cam feeds. I appreciate it. I spent this afternoon trying to debug everything, and I think I got the settings down and all set to go. So if you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the chat and I'll see what I can do. But right now, I think I have everything set up the way I want it. Got one camera here, the main camera, which is the iPhone camera, the top down, the Logitech Stream Cam, so you could kind of face to face kind of see what I'm doing. Also, you can kind of see the phone in the edge of the picture in my Stream Cam video, but that's kind of how I'm mounting it. But that shouldn't matter too much, I think. So and we have our A7R 4, the mirrorless camera that I'm using, plugged in via USB-C. And this is quite the setup I got going. I'm pretty excited for this. It's new to me. Hopefully it's more engaging for the viewer too, to be able to see my face and a different angle for the camera. I haven't played with the settings where it automatically switches between the camera, like the different angle, and just like there's like different scenes that you can do, and you can have it switch automatically between the scenes, and I haven't played with that all too often. I haven't played with it at all, actually. So, but eventually in the future, if we get fancy enough, we might be able to do that. My only problem with that right now is that the full frame camera does not output 1080p, so it actually outputs a weird resolution where it's like 524 by like 1026 or something. It's really weird, and I think that's also why I have it minimized, in a tiny window at the bottom of the screen here. And not have it be full screen, and I can actually manually switch scenes, but I just don't have the resolution to support like a 1080p thing from the full frame camera, which is weird. I don't know how to get that setting to work, but I wasn't able to figure that out, but hopefully I will going down the line. But this is the new live stream setup, and again, I'm testing this right now on this weekend live stream so that hopefully a full 2.5 hour stream goes well, and I can use the setup later on the usual Friday streams. But with that said, I guess let's just dive into it. I'm still not kind of over the novelty of this whole setup, so I'm like a little bit shook. But we'll see what we can do here, and hopefully make some progress with the YX10 M1 here. So I'm just gonna take a sip real quick. I am not caffeinated, so forgive me if I am out of it, but I feel a little bit better than yesterday because it's a weekend and I got a decent amount of sleep going. So all right, so last time we left off at this stage here in the project where we were trying to design a handle that kind of separates from the aircraft. And let me just get my tools real quick so I can actually start working on this. So I think the camera, back when it was on autofocus, it would focus on my arm in the little window there. So hopefully now that it's manual focus, it won't have those issues. It's just locked into this distance. So yeah, let's get going. Sorry about that. I'm not used to this novelty. I'm a very direct person. Like for the last like 5 or so, no, not 5. I started in May, so it's like last 9 months or so, I have been streaming directly from my phone, but now is the first time I'm doing an actual live stream setup with OBS software here, which is like the standard. It's free, it's open source. I really enjoy using it. It works really well so far. I did have to buy an app from the App Store that was like $16, but it's better than like paying the subscription model, which is like $10 a month or something like that. I'm like, I'm not paying for this monthly. I'm just going to buy something that works once, and just stick with that, and hopefully the app will have updates in the future and everything. But anyways, that's just kind of the logistics around this setup. Again, I'm still a little bit phased by this, so we'll try our best to work on the project, but I'm not used to showing my face on these streams either, so it's a little bit unnerving, just seeing a person in the frame too. So, but this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna be working on, so I guess, yeah, let's just dive right into this. Again, I said that before, but hopefully here we can actually do what we need to do now. I'm kind of nervous right now, I'm not gonna lie, because this is very new to me. But anyways, okay, so we left off with a sketch here, and we left off with a prototype as well, I believe. We have bent a piece of paperclip into this little shape here, and the idea behind this is that it'll be mounted right about where we need the elastic band to be. And I think for the most part it's pretty decent. The reason why I don't want this piece here to continue bending out like that is that keeping it short like this, a small footprint, enables us to get a smaller handle surface contact area. So if you actually study physics, you'll know that it's not, friction is not dependent on surface area. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but in aerodynamics it is. But structurally, like when things touch, it's not really relevant. But I would like to have a small handle that has a smaller footprint here, so that we don't have to like worry about all of this fitting in, because the more space you have here, the more likely it is to get caught on something, and I would like it to be localized here. That's just a personal design preference, I guess. But yeah, we need to figure out a way to mount this, and I believe what we were going to do was maybe extend this out a little bit, but that's it, just a little bit here. So we're gonna let it come out like that. So we're gonna have to fix this bend here, bend it back out, and then let it come out like that, because right now there's really not enough room here for the little anchor bits to come into play. So again, this design, if you're not familiar with this, we discussed yesterday, it was going to be a kind of, so you got a piece of paper that's folded like that, right? And it's gonna wrap around this little rod, right? And we're gonna tape together these two sides, these open edges here. And the paper will serve to transmit the force exerted on this wire by the elastic band, and this tape will serve as a nice transition to a tape, attachment style, attachment method to the actual fuselage. So I'm not sure if we can really put it in this small triangular footprint. We can definitely try and see if it does anything, but I doubt it's going to actually work. We can try. Let's actually do a prototype with this before we make any changes, because I feel like this might be possible. It's just not very reliable, I want to say. I'm just checking out the stream real quick. I'm sorry, this is new to me, so again, if you're new around here, this is a new setup that I hopefully will use in the Friday streams, but just testing it out on this additional weekend stream, which is actually, this is supposed to be kind of a replacement for the stream that I was going to do on the 5th of the month of February. It's just an extra session. I call it an extra session, but it's not really an extra session. It's like it's going to replace the one on the 5th, so I won't be free that day. So yeah, this is quite interesting. I don't know how I'm going to mount this necessarily. We could make this perpendicular, but then it's like, okay, well, I need like a level of I don't know. I am not sure how we're gonna do this. Yeah, so this is my thinking face. It might not look great, but it is what it is. I'll have to get used to it, but this is kind of what we're trying to figure out here. We were going to see if this little triangle area could be just mounted like on a piece of cardstock or something like that, but then you need to be able to fold over. The thing is, it's not a 45-degree angle, so you can't like perfectly fold over and have it be okay. I'm going to try and prototype this with just regular printer paper here. So I'm gonna cut off like a chunk here. I don't think I really need this sketch. It's not like critical. It's, you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna slice off this little bit here. Normally I preserve my sketches, but these aren't like high quality sketches anyways. So I'm just trying to figure out what the proper geometry for this thing is gonna look like before I commit myself to a piece of piece of cardstock. There we go. Use your words, Ben. So this is kind of what it looks like. Okay, so this is gonna fold over, and we have our little triangular area here. I don't think this is gonna be great, to be honest, but we gotta try it before we say no and throw out the design. I have a feeling I might have to modify this wireframe here. So this is going to be interesting. So I think the only place we need to cut on this is the front, and we can actually kind of fold over this. Well, I was going to use 2 rulers, but all right, I guess we can use 2 rulers. It's just such a minor part. I don't really expect to go all out on it, but it's you know, it's a prototype as well. So here, just do a quick fold like that. But the nice thing about 2 straight edges like this is that it's very exact. It's very precise. It yields very clean folds, and you know what we're doing right now is a very precise job, because we need that precision. Okay, so that was not a good fold. I did not do that properly. But anyways, the idea is that we can put this in here and tape this down so that, okay, that actually is not great. All right, let's see here. We need to trim this little excess off here. Okay, that should do the trick. Nope, that did not do the trick. I need to cut more. Okay, so that's the thing with like prototyping. There's no exact solution. You don't really know what you're doing, I guess. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, and essentially we want it to fold so that you don't have any excess hanging off like that. And I think we can kind of copy this design onto the other side. I'm just going to extend that straight cut right there, and I believe we can just trim this. That should do the job. I'm not sure. Again, this is a very small part, so I'm not even sure if this will work. Okay. So this folds down here, this folds down here. This once this is taped down, I feel like it'll be pretty resilient. And in the final version, it'll be out of cardstock, which is going to be a very durable material. So I don't know. This is new to me. A lot of things are new today. But let's see. Can we extend this? If we can extend this triangle bit down a little bit, right, then we can have more surface area here to tape and anchor onto the fuselage. So that'll be very nice. Trying to think right now. So if we do that, then then we can keep this frame pretty simple, right? We can keep the frame relatively short. So I think this might work actually. So I just have to figure out a better method here. So I think what we need is a little bit more area. That was what I was gonna say. Need a little bit more area on either side here. So this is the center. This is one corner. This is the other corner. We'll just like extend this out and extend this out. This is a very rough prototype, so please forgive my negligence here. But we're just trying to get the rough shape down before we transfer it to a more permanent state, I guess. Okay, let's move that scrap out of the way. So we have, where did our frame go? Oh, it's right here. Can't see. Anyways, this will be the center. And I'm going to cut this off. And so we marked the center here, which is nice. And what we gotta do is just kind of, I think for the final piece, what we're going to do here is actually tape this down using two separate strips of tape. We're gonna thread it underneath one of the wires here and over the other as an initial bond, right? And then we're going to do the same thing the other way, but you know, obviously there's going to be limitations because once this is taped over, you can't really keep it underneath or over. So there's some topology issues there, but we'll figure it out. And then once we're done with that, we can then fold this down. I think the only problem with this idea is that this isn't like a straight coming down, like, you know, thing. I'm not making a lot of sense right now, but this this triangle here actually would fit nicely here. It's a little small, but I think we need to refine the geometry slightly here. Let me just see what we can do about that. So we have a rough fold here. Got a comment from Omir Thomason. You're very talented. Can you make the Concorde come back? I wish I could, you know, the supersonic airliner that, you know, was made probably in the 70s or 80s. I'm not very familiar with the history, so don't quote me on that, but maybe, yeah. I do real-life aircraft every now and then, so that could be a good next project or something like that. The only reason that I don't really do real-life projects all that often is that they're very demanding of my time and energy, more so than original designs, which I can actually invent stuff and, you know, have fun with that. It's just real life aircraft, they're a little bit more demanding for the realism, right? Like if you get it slightly off, it won't look real. That sounds weird, but it won't look realistic, and for me that's a huge bummer because I like my projects to, you know, be as good as they can be, and you know, we have to work our way up to that level, but it's just, for me, I tend not to do real life projects because the requirements are just way too much. But we'll see if I can get over that, and yeah. Sorry, that didn't really answer the question. I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like I would say I'm not like a scale modeler. Like there are people out there who do plastic scale models and they get like the decals and the, details exactly right. But those are made out of kits which have very precise tooling, and I don't really have the tools for that. So I'm just kind of, freehanding, scratch building these things, and usually original designs work a little better for me. Will the F-16 ever resurface? Maybe. I have it right there. It's just a matter of, restructuring some of the cross sections that I started to make, and it's a little bit troublesome. I don't really feel the motivation quite yet to complete it, but hopefully I will. It's it's on the back burner for sure. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to work on it. I want to work on something more exciting, and then I work on something that's more exciting, and then I forget about the F-16, and it's just like, okay, well now I have the F-16 that I can't really, show you guys. I do want to make a video for it, so I might complete it, but I'm not going to promise anything because I have a terrible track record of keeping promises when it comes to these projects. But yeah. Again, it's just really difficult for me to kind of do what I do. I'm sorry. Will it resurface? Yes. When? I don't know. That's the answer to the question. So I apologize. That's kind of where my mind is at right now. We gotta work on what we have right now, and quite frankly, I'm more excited for my original designs than real life designs. I know people like are familiar with real life designs and would prefer that, but for me to include moving parts and details like that and to get it right in the right scale, it's just a little bit too much for what I do, and I hope you guys understand that. Yeah, so right now we're just gonna trace this template and give it some extra room here. We don't really know what this shape is gonna look like. I have a rough idea, but we're just gonna kind of go with this. I believe it's gonna be something like a triangle here on this side, maybe like an extension on this side. So again, this is like a very iffy, wishy-washy method of doing things. So I apologize if it's not making sense. But this is kind of what we're doing here. I don't like to tell you guys what I can't do. That's the thing. It's like a bummer, but at the same time, it'll come back when it does, I guess. And it's kind of the story there. But yeah, this is looking alright right now. It's just a little bit more material now. So this is the oh, I forgot to mention, I guess the only reason that this is even possible with OBS is that I upgraded my internet. I was like, if I do stream so often, might as well do an internet upgrade. Yeah, I also use the internet a lot for my work, so it's like a win-win. To me, it's worth the extra cost, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it stays really fast. They call it Giga Blast internet here. I have Cox. It's like the company that provides internet here in Connecticut, but it's definitely not 1 gigabyte per second speed. It's more like 400 gigabit. There we go, gigabit. It's not gigabit. It's whatchamacallit. It's like 400 something megabits, which is really fast. That's like 10 times the average national speed, but it's not quite what they advertise. So there's a very high down speed for that new plan that I'm on, but it's a adequate up speed. So I don't know. We'll see if it's good. If it's good, then we're clearly capable of streaming 4K right now, so that's definitely good. Okay, so that camera is kind of in focus, I want to say. I can like adjust it a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. I think it might have just like the way it's angled, it's just sliding. The mechanism is sliding a little bit, but it's just getting out of focus. But should be good to go. Megabyte. Tomcat V4. I don't know. It's just these projects they take a long time nowadays. Back when I was like an amateur, I used to crank out like one aircraft every month, and that was like a good pace for me. And with the increases in quality, you obviously need to spend more time on these projects, which is why I am a little bit slower nowadays when it comes to publishing these videos and projects. And Prototype 004 took 8 months before I made a video and put it out there. So it's definitely like, I want to say like it is me, but I don't know. I don't have a great like creative ethic, like work ethic. It's just whenever I feel inspired, I like just crank out a lot, and there's months of silence in between, and that's just kind of how I am creatively. So I apologize if that's like not very viewer friendly. I'm not a content creator. I feel like I am more of a craftsman. I'm not like a YouTuber in the current sense of the word, where I produce high quality videos for people to watch and consume, and I ask them to subscribe and anything. I don't do that anymore. I don't ask people to subscribe. If they find this stuff interesting, then they'll subscribe. They'll find it worth it to do so. But I don't find myself really pursuing that channel success as much nowadays. I really just want to create good things, and good things take time. And so that's why these live streams, I feel like, are a little bit more conducive to that that philosophy there. And yeah, so this is looking all right. Some slight adjustments here and there. Yeah, so this is not perfect, but I think this will do the trick for the most part. I feel like for this we definitely do need to tape it down. Let me just grab the tape real quick. I see that stream there, but this is just kind of a temporary piece, not a final piece, but we just need to get that there so that we can really see what our alignment is like. alignment is good for the most part. There's a little room in the front for the thing, and then this is where we'll be able to attach it to the fuselage. It's just right now it's a little bit misaligned, but no matter. Just cut in a little bit. We'll cut like a vertical slot there. That'll allow for a better alignment internally. Not sure if that makes any sense, but you know. Just rip that off. It's not too big of a deal. This here. So we are going to deepen this a little bit. Just kind of mark out where that is. That's just cleaning up the geometry here a little bit so that we have a better transition between the two surfaces, I guess. There we go. I'll just trim off this side. Edge there. Trim off this edge here. What it looks like, and we could just directly actually just trim that off, straight off. Like that. It's a very odd looking piece. Hopefully it's good. Yeah, I think it will definitely be good here. Okay, I think we can transfer this to a piece of cardstock, and I have no idea where that piece of cardstock went. Wow. Okay, it's right here. Got it. So let me transfer this here and see what we can do. Oh. Looks like we don't have enough. That's annoying. We don't have enough cardstock here. Do I have enough here? Let's see here. Just barely. And it's not a very efficient use either. Let me see here. How long does it have to be? It doesn't have to be that long. It just has to be at least one width here of tape. Sorry if I'm not making any sense. That's just me. When I get into like a tinkering mode, it's just me and the workpiece. Like I forget about like live streaming and everything like that. So sometimes I might not be addressing you guys. I might just actually be talking to myself, which is a little strange, a little unsettling, but should be okay, I feel like. So I'm just gonna grab like a piece here to make a measurement. Okay, that's about as much we need here. And then I'll just, I mean, I could make it like symmetric and fancy, but I just want to get this done at this point. So I'm not gonna bother with like fancy geometry anymore. I'm just gonna go with a straight cut. With a reduced size, we can actually use this scrap piece here. Just leave that taped to the side there. Hopefully you guys can see here, but let's see. Yeah, the lead is not feeding properly into my pencil. Gotta throw away this little chunk of lead. Always bothers me that like so much lead is wasted because pencils can't use lead until the last like centimeter or so. It always like ends before that. So much waste. Anyways, okay. Just tracing this edge on the inside here. It's a little tough because printer paper is very thin, and it's easy to just overshoot and mess up the stenciling or the tracing of the template. Okay, just gotta zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see better. And also, I'm going to be bent over like this a little bit, so this camera might not capture everything, but it'll be okay. I like to hide from the camera. Okay, there we go. I think this is okay to go. Okay, just gotta mark out like where the folds are. Definitely this corner, but then on the top it's here and here. Alright, that looks pretty decent. And again, this is a scrap piece of cardstock, so I don't feel too bad about doing this. It's not a brand new piece, but I'm gonna try our best to make it work. Just gonna cut this out and see if it does the job. It may not work. That's just the nature of prototypes, you know. But hopefully it does. Okay. Let's put that to the side there. Let's use our ruler, our second ruler, to fold out these panels here. There we go. Apologies. All right. I'm curious to know if this works. Alright, let's see how this fits together. I think we can start to tape this down. Okay, let's see how that works. I'm just gonna take this. Actually, we could take this piece right here. Okay, so there's obviously a lot of excess here, but we can trim that off with our X-Acto. Go. I forgot to mention another thing, and this might be relevant later in the channel, but the nice thing about OBS is I can actually also live stream my desktop on my computer, so I could actually technically play games and stream that. Not that I will. This isn't a gaming channel, but I could if I wanted to, and that's pretty cool, I think. And also, what's I gonna say? I can also live stream potential projects in the future that involve computer aided design, CAD, and computer modeling. So I can do that too, get a stream going for that. So yeah, there's a lot of potential possibilities with this OBS software on my PC. So that's another thing that I really appreciate about this setup. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do that, put that down there, and really precisely mold this around here. Yeah, the thing with tape is you can't really predict what geometry you need, but you can always clean it up later, which is a beautiful thing, I think, because then the geometry hugs the shape of the workpiece that you're working on perfectly, and it's just nice and clean. Yeah, like that. Just trim the other side here. Very, very small bits and pieces here and there. This is just a handle too. It's not like all that important of a part. I say that, but it's actually quite important. If we can't throw this thing, then we're pretty much done for. We can't use it fully. It'll just be a desktop display model, which would be tragic, because I would love for this thing to fly. I saw another comment. I like the Astra series. I do too. I like the Astra series too. It's like an original design. It's partially inspired by real life, but really not all that much. It's there's elements here and there, but in terms of actually building it and drawing it up and making it, it's completely original. It's not a scale model of anything in real life. I'm gonna just straighten this out here. This is annoying me a little bit, so I'll just cut that off. Yes, I need tape. Okay, so that's the thing. I like designing original things. There's something exciting about it that you don't get when you just do regular airplane models, I guess. I mean, I do like real life aircraft. My job involves the F-35, for example, but it's just when you're able to create something of your own and share it with the world, then it's like there's a sense of fulfillment there for sure. Just at least I get pretty excited when I introduce my designs into the world. It's like, this thing didn't exist before, now it does, and I'm pretty excited for it. Yeah. I think what we forgot to do? This is so stupid. I feel so stupid right now that I even did this, but we need to disassemble this because we forgot to put the elastic band through. I am dying. Why did I not see that? Oh, goodness. Lord. Alright, we need to disassemble this just so that I can attach that rubber band. The whole point of this structure is to increase the tension in the front landing gear. That's the whole point of this thing. And we completely forgot about the elastic band, and now we have to actually just disassemble all that we did here. Luckily, it's not too big of a deal, but it is annoying that we have to do some rework here. So I'm just gonna lift up, if possible, I'm gonna lift up this. It's really difficult now that you taped it down. Yeah, it's really, really, really tough to, shoot. See, this is what happens when I talk to you guys and I forget about the actual build. Then I stop using my brain. And when I stop using my brain, it's not good, because then I go off on tangents and we end up in situations like this where I had to spend extra time going back, retracing my steps. This annoys me, but it is what it is, and I will have to do this anyways. It's literally what it's designed for, the elastic band being attached. So alright, we can still use this piece of tape. It's just on one side here we need to lift up what we got. Okay. Now this is the tricky part, because we have elastic elements here. Oh Jesus, that's not good for the wing. Just move that to the side there. Okay, so this is kind of like surgery, but I don't know. You could call it that, but I don't really think it's anything like that. Anyways, we just need to pull this elastic band out, slide this one in. Oh Lord, this is so complicated. Actually, let me just do something before that. Before we do that, I'm gonna make the bend here. So I believe we need to have what, a length of this much, so about right here. I just gotta mark it with a marker here so that we don't forget. Right about here, right about there. Just need to bend it in so that it completes the open loop that was in the design sketch. I'll show you. Let's see. You see this black thing? That's what we're trying to make. And once we make that, we can make the shaded part here with the airfoil handle, and that'll slide through this. I hope I'm making sense. If I'm not, well, then stick with it and we'll eventually get there. But today's plan is just to really get this handle thing down. Okay, what do we need to do again? We need to bend this. Okay, we need to bend this. I keep on derailing myself when I'm talking to you guys. I just kind of like forget what I gotta do. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hold that in place and then bend this in. This, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. We could like bend it back, I guess. Yeah, we can bend it backwards. I don't want to cut it because this is going to be close to my hand. And if I do a cut, it's going to be very sharp. It might injure me. So I would prefer not to have sharp edges near this handle, but I'm just rationalizing why I should not spend more time and effort into this. Which I do, I'm guilty of that, but this side could use a little bit more bend. There we go. That's good. It's gonna be like right about here. Okay. And we are going to thread the thingamajig through. Can't have this tape here while we're doing that. We need it to be at the tippy tip. I hope I'm making sense. If I'm not, oh well. I'm not saying that, but let's see. Let's see here. So we lifted that up and shoot. All right, we're going to transfer the tension to this piece that we're working on, and I'm going to, oh god, this is going to get tangled with the landing gear. God, this is not making any sense. Jesus. There we go. There we go. That's better. This is definitely not advisable for future me. If I'm watching this, I would prefer if you, future me, take note, don't do this. This is very finicky. Good Lord. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. Oh god. I need to flip this thing around. There we go. If we flip this around. Okay, that might actually work. This is quite strenuous activity. This is physical activity I am doing right now. I am exhausted. No, I'm just kidding. I need to get into shape. I need to work out, but this is quite stressful. Like I'm like wondering how I'm gonna do this. Okay, I don't think this is enough. We need a little bit more than that. This is a very structural piece that we're dealing with here. So we need a little bit more tape than that. Oh Jesus, all right, here we go. Put that down. Okay. Now that we have the tape in place, we're just pulling this whole piece back. Oh, sorry, you guys can't really see. Sorry about that. Just pulling this whole thing back here. So that at the right level of tension for the nose gear. Could be a little bit more. There we go. And let it go down. I really hope this thing does not break, which is why I am adding more tape over the tape itself to really make sure that nothing moves around. If things move around, then this thing is going to fall apart because it's a lot of energy stored in the elastic band, and it is just going to rip, absolutely like destroy everything. I'm curious to know how this is going to work. Oh Jesus, right. It was loud. Okay, I guess the question now is how I'm gonna make the handle. We need a handle that's gonna work with this. Okay, hopefully you guys can see what it looks like right now. This elastic band is very delicate. If it gets like ripped, then this whole thing falls apart and this doesn't serve a purpose anymore. I don't know, should I cover that up? It's like an extra layer of cardstock around that just to protect it. I think that's worthwhile. I'm gonna get the length of this thing. So we need approximately this much. We need about 1 centimeter in width. So, okay. I'm going to measure 1 centimeter here. And we are going to extend that down. There we go. Just a simple rectangular piece. Oh boy, here we go. This is for its own protection, so yeah. Sorry about that, just kind of in the way there. I just need to get a piece of tape to put half on, half off here. Oh shoot. Half on, half off. And also another piece. Okay. Sorry about that, you guys can't really see, but half on, half off. Same strategy. Let's trim off the end here, clean that up a little bit. And now we are going to just cover this elastic band. Okay, I'll just get a half strip to get down the middle here. Put that off to the side there. And this will go down. Actually, we could do this too. I think we might need one. This is just to, okay, this is not aligned properly. Let me just correct the alignment real quick. This is bothering me. Apologies for that. Let's try this again. There we go. And this one right here. We'll pull down this entire tab so that it sticks closer to the fuselage. So it kind of compresses it in a little bit using tension. That's a little misnomer, right? It's really pulling it in. There we go, not compressing. And this back here, this is gonna just be secured using this half strip of tape here. And the same principle, we're just gonna compress it down, or pull it in close to the fuselage there. So it is what it is, and I'm just gonna spread this a little bit. Spread this part so that we can actually stick a handle in, or something similar to that. I will say this does look kind of interesting. What's I gonna do? Oh yeah, the next step is to make the handle. And the handle will be a very interesting piece of hardware because it needs to be strong enough to accelerate this entire airplane. Right, so I want to zoom out a little bit there. It needs to be able to handle a launch, right? So we're just holding it like that and then launching it really, really roughly. It's going to have to be able to take off and handle all those forces. And I think this, for the most part, should be able to handle that. It's just maybe that's going to be debatable. I didn't really think this through all too much, but This needs a little more bend, actually. Let's see. Okay. But the idea is that we'll have something like this, right? So pretend that this is the handle. It's gonna slide like that, and it's gotta stop at a certain stage, right? So we take this scrap piece of cardstock here, it's gonna stop right about there. And I'm just wondering, like, what kind of transition do we need there? Because this is like a pretty sketchy, you know, it might cut through the tape, but I don't know. It should be okay though. So this does need to go up a little bit, so I'm going to try and bend this up, but this is a little bit difficult at this stage. It's a little hard to do that. Okay. Actually, for now, let me just stick this landing gear in just to see the entire flight orientation of this aircraft. You don't need the landing gear out anyways right now. God damn it. This is like so stubborn now. You can tell there's a lot more elastic force. I'm just gonna stuff this in the front here and slide the door in the back. It's not very... it's quite difficult to get this to work, but we've done it before, so I'll do it again. Look at that. All landing gear retracted. This is ideally okay. I hope this thing pops out, but this is as close as we're gonna get to the flight configuration. And all we need is a launcher in the back. That hopefully it'll work. So we need to design this thing now. Let's see, how long are we doing? We're doing 2 hours, 10 minutes, so we've got about an hour left. I think that should be enough time to make the handle. Do you need a prototype handle, of course? I'm not even sure if it needs to be this long. Does it even need to be this long? Interesting. Okay. Every pop scares me. I think the rubber band has snapped. Yeah. Definitely, it's... God, the rubber band is just... It's supposed to be like very high strength in harsh environments, you know, capable of handling that, but for some reason last night when we did the stream, it didn't work, and it popped and it broke one of the rubber bands inside. But luckily we had a second one. I wasn't really sure like if it was gonna break this one, but we did it, and the bottom of the airplane right now is so rough, it's like not even It's not looking that great, but hopefully we can repanel some of this, add on top, and smooth things out. But it's really, like, it's more of a Russian looking plane, you know, the real life counterpart, than an American at this point. But the nose is kind of American, right? This very sharp kind of nose here. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. We need to get the handle done. So I think the fastest way to do that is to cut out another chunk of paper here. I think that should be enough for a handle. And we're just gonna rough cut this. I don't even care about drawing lines or anything at this point. Put this off to the side here. We're going to cut that, and we're gonna fold it in half. And we're gonna equalize the geometry a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the ends off so that they're flush. And maybe one of the edges here, just a little bit, so that it's all even up. Just trim off the tip there. Okay, so now we have a rectangle that's folded in half. So we didn't have to draw anything, but it's not perfect, right? This edge is a little bit slanted, but it's a handle, so we don't have to care about it too much, I guess, in that sense. But we do need a good, solid handle. So this is approximately what my grip is going to look like. So your grip might vary. I usually hold with my thumb, and this finger right here kind of is aligned with the bottom of my nail here. So this is like completely up to you if you're building a handle of sorts like this. It's just you need to account for that width. Also, it's like 1.5 here-ish. I'll just mark 1.5, 1.5. Oh shoot, let's do this differently. 1.5 centimeters and 1.5 centimeters. And then you just gotta, sorry, this is not completely in the frame. I apologize again. But you can just do this and whoop, get that going. And this is not a hugely important thing, I suppose, but I'm just testing this out. I don't know if this will work again, but we're going to fold this longitudinally. This is 1/2 of the handle. If this were an actual aircraft part, I would be a little bit more concerned with the quality and the everything. You could definitely spend forever and make a really great handle, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be displayed with the aircraft. It's really an optional piece that if you decide to fly your plane, then it becomes important. Right? So for me, I will fly this plane, but since it's separate from the aircraft, it's not going to fly with the airplane. It's not going to have all the structural requirements. The airplane has to be able to handle anything, but this handle can be replaceable, right? It's not part of the design. I mean, I guess it is, but you know what I mean. It's like not part of the plane, which has higher requirements and everything. Something like this, right? It's like a tiny paper airplane T-shaped thing. It's gonna slide in between here. And yeah, ideally I would hold it near the front. So this is kind of about where I'm going to hold it. I didn't plan this really well. Ideally, your handle or wherever you're launching should be near the CG, which is the center of gravity for your aircraft. That allows for the least amount of torque imparted onto the aircraft when it flies off, right? So if you actually throw it back from the CG, what it's going to do is, if you have any slight adjustment, like slight movement in your hand, it's going to cause the plane to rotate about the CG because of that. So this is actually quite new to me. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I'm interested in seeing how it does perform. So this, I guess, is kind of the handle here. It doesn't have to be so long. It can be a little bit shorter. Actually, you can be about half as big. I'm just going to measure out a nice even number here. It can be probably maybe 4 centimeters. It doesn't have to be large, because if it's large, it might get in the way, and you don't want that. So this is kind of what we need in a handle, right? Something like that just slides in between the two things for a launch, and then you're holding it like that, and the final piece is going to be strong enough to actually handle this, so not too concerned there. But you're going to accelerate it and then pull your hand back, and it's going to slide through. See what I mean? Like, that's kind of the idea that we have right here. And just trying to see here, we probably need a wider acceleration base, and we also need a longer handle, because I feel like if we align it with the CG where it would be, then we might be able to do some really cool things, like launch an airplane really well. So maybe this was the better piece here, but we needed to cut this so that okay, so this can actually be our prototype here. Let's cut this down. So essentially what we're going to do is have a piece that looks like this. It's the back part is tabbed so that it locks into this geometry. But your hand, where it grips this handle, is underneath the CG, right? So that's going to be key. But that begs the question, this is very wobbly. How is it going to be stable? And I guess that's where we need to do a little testing to find out. But for the most part, I feel like this should be okay. Again, this is highly experimental. I don't know if this will work, but we'll find out, I guess, soon enough. And that's the thing, we can't even attach this to the fuselage, because if we do, then this thing won't slide. This thing won't actually work. There are probably better mechanical solutions to this, but this is the best I could come up with right now, so I'll just have to go with this for this iteration. Actually, this can be replaced pretty easily because it's relatively close to the outside of the aircraft. So if we really wanted to, we could probably fix this in another session. But at least it's not an internal mechanism that gets sealed up. That's not very easy to replace. So if this needs modification, we can always change it after a test flight or anything like that. I'm actually wondering now if we could use a popsicle stick, because that's actually that might actually solve our problem, because what we have encountered with this handle right here in the design of this is that this paper, if you hold it here and there's a force in the back, right, it causes this bending, buckling motion of this paper, and that's not really desirable, right? So what we need is to increase the stiffness of this handle a little bit, and we can do that using a popsicle stick. And it doesn't matter at this point because, you know, this is offline, this is not on the plane itself. We can tape this down, right, like that, and we can make the top reinforced. Like, we could literally tape it inside the thing and it would be fine. Do that, seal the top, make it a little bit wider on the top, right? And I'll have to reinforce the top, so we'll design something, we'll build something. We got an hour left. Actually, I'm okay with going over today. I just want to get the bottom of this airplane done so that next time we can work on the vertical stabilizers, which are a key component to this aircraft, because otherwise you won't be stable. So, God, all right. I'm sorry. I'm just like kind of hyper right now. Finally feeling that caffeine kick in. Okay. We can make this thing so that it's, you know, it mounts like nicely. Sorry about that. So it's gonna have to fit nicely around this, and okay. This should be okay, I feel like, for the most part. And this should be okay. This should be enough. Just thinking about this real quick. You need it to be stiff all the way up, because otherwise it's... That's interesting. Okay, what if we... I'm trying to think here. So we have a rigid handle, that's good. It's gonna fit in the back like that, which is good. Nice thing about paper is that it's actually flexible enough so that if you... Oh shoot, let's see this again. Sorry, apologies for this. Let me just get it through. Okay. Nice thing about paper is that once it's inside this little frame area... Okay, pretend that it is, right? Okay, so just... damn it, this is so frustrating. God damn it. All right. Okay, something like that, right? So imagine like you're throwing this and it does accelerate the plane, right, the way it is currently, but you want to pull away from the aircraft instead of letting it slide over to the back. Nice thing about a paper structure is that you can actually pull it through like that. I'm not sure about cardstock, but at least for regular printer paper, it's quite easy to just pull the whole thing out, which is going to be useful. All right, so enough talk. We're going to actually make this thing. I don't even know if this thing will work. That's the thing. Like, we're investing so much time into this. It's like, most of the time when I do a stream, it works out, but sometimes there are times when it just doesn't work out, and I get sad when that happens. Okay, so this is gonna be like that. You can make it taper up. Because we don't need the full length here. And I would like a nice little round shape, or, you know, relatively sharp looking shape near the front. I still haven't gotten a saw from Amazon. Like, I need like a proper like hand saw. I'm using scissors on wood right now. That's not ideal. Definitely don't do what I do. Highly would not recommend. This is not safe. Don't recommend doing this. Anyways, that looks decent. It's not too stringent in terms of requirements, but this is gonna fit near the front here. I'm gonna grab onto this, and hopefully when I throw like that, the paper will rip itself out from the little launcher here. I don't know if rip is the right term for that, but hopefully you get what I mean. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This is what, 1.5 centimeters? 1.5, okay. So again, how long does this need to be? Somewhere here. Okay, yeah, this should be good enough. I don't think we have enough cardstock here. Another scrap piece here. Yeah, this is definitely not enough. Let's see, what can we do here? Oh yeah, we have another piece of cardstock. This is white. I just don't know if I would want white. I mean, white is fine. There's nothing wrong with white. It's just, it doesn't meld into, it doesn't match the plane that well. The only thing that's white on the plane right now is the nose. That'll change with the vertical stabilizers. I have a design for that, which I will execute, which involves multiple layers, but we'll get there when we get there. I'm not sure if we can do that today. I might have enough time, not sure. Anyways, we want this thing right here. I want to copy this, but like, just want to see where this sits. All right, this is going to be right about here. So we need this to be a little longer. Actually, so we don't actually need these two little tabs right here. That's like extra. Oh, you know what would be nice though? If those tabs, instead of like, we can cut this, but like if it folded on this side. Here. But I don't know. We can do a separate piece for that. We don't have to figure all of that out right now. So this is cardstock. This is not printer paper. This is white cardstock. It's very stiff, high strength material that I use for my aircraft. It's just, in this context, we're building a handle. So let's see here, we're just doing that, just tracing off the geometry here. Probably need it to go forward, and it's gonna pop up like that, something like that, and then the bottom here will just be a little rectangle there. This edge will go straight across, hopefully. And this back edge is important. We do need to get that marked out. Okay, there we go. Okay, and That's good, looking good. Don't necessarily need this bottom one here. Trying to clean up some of the lines. Definitely clean up the geometry here in general. Definitely could add this little thing back. It doesn't hurt. It's just we need to cut this edge instead of the other edge there. Okay, so we have a rough shape of what we want. Let's draw in the lines a little deeper so that we get a clear line of the geometry. Okay. That's good. Just gotta extend this straight line forward. Straight down. I don't know if that was straight. That didn't look straight to me. Maybe slightly off, but oh well. This don't cut this. This don't cut this. I can't talk. Jesus, my grammar is absolutely horrid when I get tired and exhausted. This is tiring. This is something creative, so it takes energy to do this. Apologize. Ace Combat theme playing. Ryanaga Arafat. Yeah. This channel is heavily inspired by Ace Combat, but we've kind of grown our own way since its inception. The channel Y13A stands for Yellow 13 Ace, but not many people know that. I just kind of rebranded the channel to just Y13A, just in general, just like a series of letters and numbers, so that it's not associated with any particular thing. But the roots are in Ace Combat, which is a franchise that I really love. It's really, really close to my heart. It's kind of why I am in the job industry where I am. You know, I'm an engineer. I work on the F-35. It's pretty dope. It's pretty exciting stuff. Also work on some things that I can't talk about, but it's a fun time, and it got started from the video game series Ace Combat. You know, my first Ace Combat game was Ace Combat X, Skies of Deception, I think. It was the PSP game that I played back in the day, where you're Griffiths 1, and you go around shooting things and blowing stuff up, and that was exciting to me. And not the blowing things up, it's just the airplanes. They really kind of got me started on that interest path, and eventually I decided to pursue a degree in aerospace engineering from University of Illinois, and kind of where we're at now because of that. So the roots of my interest in this channel, in my professional life as well, are in Ace Combat. So I'm kind of forever grateful for that, and it's put me on a path here. But also I'd say, like, this channel, like, the way it's been growing, it's not necessarily like gameplay, it's not that. It's just a pure interest in airplanes and designing things for airplanes and just creating things and designing things. That's more of where I'm at as a channel. That's where this channel is really focused on. So, it is what it is, but its roots were definitely in Ace Combat. So, in case you were wondering, highly recommend the series. It's available on PC, and at least Ace Combat 7 is available on PC and also Xbox and PlayStation. So I really highly recommend. If you're interested in airplanes, that game is like a godsend. You know, it's amazing. Like, the graphics are amazing. The models are amazing. Like, the 3D modeling done for that game is very detailed. Like, they just released a second anniversary update for Ace Combat 7, which is a game that I do play. And they added so many like tiny details that normal people wouldn't even notice, you know? But like, if you're an airplane nerd, it's like you get so excited about these things. It's really, really interesting, and you know, I really love it. I know in the latest update they did do some improvements to the nozzle geometry of the Nosferatu, the CFA 44. They like improved the detailing on the edge of the nozzle, man. It's not even like the nozzle, like the main surfaces, it's the lip, like the perpendicular, like flat, normal lip that's like perpendicular to the aircraft axes. They like added the detail, and it's like so amazing. It's just the attention to detail in that game is incredible, because it's made by people who love airplanes for people who love airplanes. And you know, that's, you know, it's really fascinating stuff. On the CFA 44, I know in the latest update, or actually for most planes in this latest update, they added the machine gun port animation. It's absolutely insane. It's like such a small detail, right? But like whenever you fire your guns on something like an F-22, the gun port slides back, or you know, pops open, right? There's a little mechanism there, and it starts firing. And that's like a level of detail that's not available in a lot of other arcade sim flight games, you know, like things like Hawks. That was like years ago. I'm sure they didn't pay attention to these details, and that's why like they kind of went downhill from there. But I'll say like even newer games that, you know, like Project Wingman, for example. I played that game, and it's a little bit different from Ace Combat, but you can tell the modeling is still a little rough around the edges. Granted, it is a 3-person team. It's not like a, you know, full-on production team there. But that's one thing that Ace Combat really excels at, is the attention to detail in the models, and you know, just appreciation for flight in general. You know, just jet aircraft and, you know, fighter jets. And I know it's like there's a stigma around fighter jets, and you know how it's like made for war, but really the message of that game is, you know, war is bad, but planes are rad. You know, planes are very cool, and you know that I think nothing shows that better than the first cutscene in Ace Combat 7, which is absolutely stunning. The first time I saw that, I was just amazed at the quality of the animation, and also the soundtrack. The soundtrack in the Ace Combat series, oh man, don't even get me started. It's absolutely amazing. It's breathtaking, and it's epic, and it's orchestral. You know, just Ace Combat 7, I really love the music in that game. It's just absolutely epic. Like, I listen to it when I, you know, do anything important. It's like, it helps me focus, first of all. But most importantly, it's very emotional in a sense. It's not only just like epic for the sake of being epic, it's also emotional. Like, it's very well written. Yeah, it's just, I'm absolutely in love with that series. It's inspiration for a lot of what I do. And, you know, some design elements that I incorporate into my original designs come from that series, and you know, it is what it is. Even the paint schemes, right? Like, so if you played Ace Combat 7, you'll know that the antagonist is Mihai, right? The enemy ace pilot, but he's not really a bad guy in the end. I don't know if that's kind of spoilers, but it's been out for 2 years at this point, so I don't think it should be that big of a deal. But he's kind of like the bad guy, and you know, Soul Squadron, the whole imagery associated with like the sun in Ace Combat 7 is absolutely amazing. It's it's like you know it's made by a team in Japan called Project Aces, right? And you know, Japan has this obsession with the sun, and you know, it's associated with their flag, right? Their, you know, the whole name of Japan is Nihon, which is where the sunrise happens, where the sun originates, right? Sunrise land. If you watch the Bill Wirtz video about that, but yeah, it's very interesting. The imagery in Ace Combat 7 is highly evocative of the sun, right? Like Sol Squadron, for example. Sol is sun in Spanish, in Latin, and you know, it's like the emblem is like this sun that's like super menacing looking, and I just really like it. And there's like orange, right? The SU-30 with the orange wingtips. So that's kind of what inspired the leading edge flaps in this YX10 M1 design. This leading edge flap that's orange here. And so a lot of things that are like that are kind of inspired for me from the Ace Combat series, which you know is close to my heart, you know. So that's kind of a rundown there. Sorry to get on a rant there, but yeah. Ryunaga Airfat says, you know, war is bad, planes are rad. Y13A 2021 until yeah, absolutely. Yeah, war is bad. It's terrible for, you know, humans, right? It, you know, it causes so much loss and, you know, just negativity in general, but it also inspires a lot of great things. And when it comes to devising machines that fly, you know, war has been an accelerator of that technology, right? Without World War One, without World War Two, I don't think we would have fighter jets the way they are today. You know, it's just war spurs that innovation, you know, trying to get the edge over your adversaries and things like that. It's very interesting. It's definitely an interesting topic that I'm very close to, I would say, because I actually work in the defense industry. So, you know, it's interesting to see how things are done and, you know, things like that. But anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent there. But yeah, war is bad, planes are rad. Yeah, the AC-7 details are very cool. Love the movement of every control surface, missiles firing, and my favorite, the afterburner animation, says this fellow viewer here. And yeah, I would completely agree. It's absolutely stunning. The visuals, the mechanisms, right? Like the control surfaces and the details to how things move, like the air brakes, the landing gear, like how it stows, right? Each airplane in that game has its own unique geometries and animations and mechanisms, and they modeled a lot of them pretty accurately. So I know, for example, like for a lot of Russian planes that have canards, right, like the Su-30 SM, which is like the prime time aircraft for the Sol Squadron leader Mihai, right? It's just absolutely crazy. Like it's such a small detail you wouldn't realize it. Like you would think about aerodynamics and think that in a pitch up maneuver that the canards would point up, right, to, you know, get that extra angle of attack to lift the nose up. But actually in real life, that's not what happens. Like Su-30s and Su-33s, when they take off, their canards are pointed down, which is very interesting. It's not a very well-known fact. I think most people who study airplanes would assume that the canards are pointing the wrong way, but they are actually pointing the right way because that's how they work in real life. Because in real life, they function as sort of a leading edge flap to guide air over the main wings. They're not a lifting canard per se. They're kind of a additional auxiliary surface of sorts. They help control airflow, but they're not there to produce lifting force for the nose. Right? If you look at the design of some of the flankers out there, they don't really look like lifting surfaces either. They're very tiny compared to the main wing. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. It's really well done, like the animation, like you said, it's absolutely stunning, and the attention to detail is incredible. So with that said, we are still working on this handle right here. Sorry to get off on a tangent there, but I get excited about these things, and I'm an airplane nut, so I absolutely appreciate what Project Aces have done. They are very, very talented people. They're very passionate people. You can tell just through the work that they do. And hopefully the work that I do here, this hobby, hopefully it conveys the same energy, right? Like a passion for airplanes, a passion for craftsmanship and making things and designing things. That's kind of where I think my channel is, a little bit different from a lot of the other maker channels. They make a lot of cool projects, no doubt, but creating something with art, with vision, that's a little bit rare nowadays on YouTube. I don't want to like toot my own horn, but it is what it is. You don't see a lot of designers on YouTube. You see a lot of engineers. They make really cool things, no doubt, right? But people who design their own original things and fly them, and that's relatively rare, I would say. Like they would design one-off projects, but around a certain idea, around it's just a little bit rare. So I'm trying to kind of develop that area of my channel. But anyways, I'm getting off topic here, but it's this is kind of where I like to operate, in this designing, making space, with projects that are a little bit of both engineering and arts, right? So people always say, like, when you're an engineer, again, this is me repeating myself, I sound like a broken record at this point, but I always say this to my viewers whenever they are watching, is that I am not like a full-on engineer or an artist, right? I'm a little bit of both. Projects that I do involve both, right? A lot of these mechanisms are very technical. They only move when they are certain geometries, and you need to get that right. But it's just, I don't know, I like to operate in the space. I always like to say this. I like to operate in the space between science and art. And when you do good science, when you engineer great things, it almost becomes magic, right? It's like magical. So I'm trying to operate in that space, where magic happens, and where you innovate things and create new things, right? Not just regular old paper airplanes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, to me, I think it's also always worth it to push, right? To see what's next, to invent the next thing in the field. So you can say that paper airplanes, they're very simple, but they're really as complicated as you want them to be. I don't really see these projects as paper airplanes, mere paper airplanes anymore. They're a little bit more than that, and it's kind of just what I do here. Glider designs, right? Glider design projects and things like that. I think this should be mostly good to go. I just need to tape together this top edge here, and we might be done with the handle. So that's kind of some of my thoughts. Again, I'm sorry, these are open studio design sessions. They're not really supposed to be rants, but I end up ranting sometimes, and for things that I'm passionate about too, right? It's just not, I don't rant about just anything. I rant about things that I care about. And okay, so this is clearly not enough. We need to increase the footprint of this thing, which I think we said we would attach additional stuff to it to make it a little bit wider, which I think we're gonna have to do. it needs to have a wider footprint to be able to handle the loads. Okay, so okay, so this is gonna go like that, and just a little bit more on each side. We could use this scrap here, the gray cardstock. We're at 2 hours, so I think I have 10 minutes, but honestly, I'm okay with going a little bit past that today, just because I want to see this thing done. I think we'll stop when this thing is done and ready to go. And I might do some additional paneling off camera just to make some progress, but for the most part, I think we should be all set to go. Yeah, so this is kind of what we need to do. We need to like do a double layered fold that's like a rectangle here. So actually, this might not be enough. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, this might be better. Again, might be a little bit small, a little bit short. Let's see what we can do with this. Okay, just do that. Find outer lip here. Okay. Just kind of work with this real quick. And this is not ideal, but just gonna trim this off. Should be good, and now it should be perpendicular or closer to it. And we're going to so I think that's about as much as we're going to get out of this piece of cardstock. Just need to drop this straight down, get a perpendicular edge going here. Sorry about that, you guys couldn't see. Just drop that down, cut this one off. And do a simple fold here. So this isn't like an arrow structure. What I call an arrow structure, it's like something that's on the plane itself that will handle flight loads and things like that. Arrow structures. And yeah, this is definitely not that, but kind of want roughly aerodynamic shape. So I'll do that. If I cut down the middle and fold it over. That's an interesting thought. Let's think about that. So if I cut this and fold it over, I think it'll grab onto this edge a little better. And I won't have as much of a lip. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Why not? Why the hell not? Alright, this is 5.5 centimeters across, so that means we need 2 1/4. No. 2.5 plus 1/4. The 2.75, there we go. 2.75, there we go, right down the middle. See, this is what happens when you don't know math. You just mess up. Math isn't scary, it's just useful. It's a tool, right? Like a ruler, like a pair of scissors, it's a tool you can use. There we go. Now what we can do is wrap this around the thingamajig here. So I think we do need a little bit more clearance to this thing. So just slice off a slight amount of material from each side. Okay, so there's a visible gap here. That'll allow for us to better integrate this all together. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to pop that up and tape this down. Just take our excess tape from the side there that we didn't use. I'm gonna just attach it here. Might not be very clear what I'm doing, but this is literally not gonna fly. This is supposed to be a ground only hardware, piece of hardware. Okay, so there we go. Grab a piece like that. Tape it like that. Should be more than enough. And you just tape that over. Absolute unit of a handle. Absolute unit. So this is kind of what it looks like. It looks like a tiny plane with wings without a stabilizer, but that's not what it is. It's supposed to be a handle for this thing. And I think it should be good for the most part. The only thing is that it tends to lean towards one side or the other. So I'm gonna have to fold that up, and hopefully that supports it a little better. Jesus, all right. Yeah, maybe we need like some sort of reinforcement, but this is pretty good for now, I guess. So I definitely can't show you the tests right now, but I can simulate what it's gonna be like for you guys. Shoot, gotta load this in. And so right now, if we look at this, if we pull on this, it's gonna pull, right? It's gonna pull the aircraft, just like so. You can see on the other camera stream there. When I pull on this, it'll move the aircraft. But in a throw, eventually I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna hold still, right? So the momentum of the aircraft will kind of carry on, and this handle will separate. So I'm gonna kind of show you guys right now if that's possible. There's a lot of friction, so I don't know if this will work, but kind of like that. You know, it's a very finicky thing, but it's just like that, and then accelerate a little bit, and then it comes apart. There's a lot of friction on the table, obviously, but in flight, in actual flight, I don't think this will be a problem. The only issue that I have with this right now is that this is a little bit wobbly like that. So I'm trying to figure out a way to fix that problem. The only idea that I have is with paper clips, which will ruin the profile here, but paper clips will make everything right. So I'm just gonna do what I gotta do, I suppose. Yeah, we're at the 2 hour 10-minute mark, but I don't even care. I'm gonna keep on going until I finish this, and yeah, maybe I'll do a hard stop at like 8 p.m. But this is really critical. This needs to be absolutely stiff, because if it's not, this thing is just gonna flop around and my plane is gonna like fall off the launcher. So there's some sort of like support here. So it's gonna, okay, maybe that's not the best paper clip to work with, but it's already bent. Okay, let's try doing this. Okay, again, I'm just gonna put this handle right here. You guys can't really see this side because it's covered by my 2 screens there, but hopefully it's not that big of a deal. You guys can still see most of it. I talk to myself a lot, so if that's annoying, I apologize. It's kind of my thought process. Alright. Going to, okay, this is, okay, there we go. We're just kind of scratch building at this point. We don't even have a design. We're just kind of making in the moment, seeing what we need. Like we'll just grab like a width here for what we need. Like it's like half of the width here. Actually, it could be more. It'll just go under the paper clip, so I don't know. Do the full width here. Okay, something like that. And I'm gonna stretch out the rest of this thing. That's kind of what we have right now. Okay, we could increase this angle a little bit. And yeah, there we go. Should be good. Bend it at halfway to go back a little bit. Just grab a marker here. Okay. Something like that. Let's see here. How does it look? Okay, so it's a little out of plane. But for the most part, it's should be all okay to go. Just increase the angle a little bit. Okay. Here. If we run out of paperclip, that'll be the saddest thing. I really hope I don't. That would be absolutely tragic. But we'll just have to see what we do here. Okay, looks decent. And I just gotta copy this set of bends on the other side, which might be a little bit difficult, but I'm gonna try and get it. Sorry, this is not like a good angle. Like I keep on missing shots and things like that. Okay, here we go. Just copy this bend to the other side here. So that's that, and that's that, and oh God, we don't have enough. We don't have enough. Okay, well it's pretty close. It's just not perfect. Okay, so let's see how this works. All right, so this is gonna fit here. It's gonna wrap around this thing. It's gonna be really stiff. It's gonna hold this thing in place like a mouse. Sorry about that. That was annoying. Um, and I think with a little bit of tape, we should be good to go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to equalize the length of this thing so that it's a little bit more balanced. On this side, it is approximately 1.5, a little over that. So I'm going to try and see this 1.5 before the bend. Okay, let's do the same on this side. 1.5 before the bend. This doesn't really matter. This a bit more. It's like by visual inspection, I feel like this is a little bit shorter. Go a little longer here. Okay. And basically hold that in place and fold. Should probably be better to hold this side because it's not the side that we don't care about. And just fatigue the wire until it's broken. And then like that, you have our piece. Wraps around here perfectly. Okay. Just bend this in a little bit. Okay, I think that this is about as close as we're gonna get, I feel like. Oh, no. This needs to be in the middle to support the whole thing. And then this needs to be... Ideally, this should be glued. I don't think I have glue. I do have glue. I don't know if it's strong enough. So I really do need to get some super glue for myself for these hobbies. Oh, God. We're almost done. Okay. Just grab a piece of tape like that. Tape down this side. This isn't a great thing, taping it down like this, but since it's, kind of clamping around this center piece here, I think it should be okay, structurally speaking. If it's not, well, I'll find out real quick when I throw this, or try and hold up the plane. But I think for the most part, this should be okay and all set to go. This is now incredibly stiff. You feel that? Or you can't feel it, but you see that? It's like not wobbling anymore, not as much. And that's gonna allow us to launch this plane really nicely. I feel like the only thing that we need to account for now is this little gate here in the back. This little gate in the back needs to be wide enough for the paperclip to go through. And then now we can hold our plane and not have it, just increase the height of this camera a little bit, just not have it wobble, right? So it won't wobble too much like that. And we can actually adjust the angle of this now so that the thing is better suited for the aircraft itself. You see that? This is kind of how it is right now. And when I throw it, when I actually launch it, it'll be really nice and smooth and all set to go. but this definitely needs a little bit more angle to snugly fit without any rotation, without a lot of rotation, right? So right now it's kind of a mechanical slider coupling like that. Can move around a little bit, but not too much. So if I increase the angle, it'll help with that. But if you have too much of an angle, it's going to start lifting this slider rail apart from the aircraft as well. So you need to balance both. This is overall I think it's a very nice design. It's I'm excited to try it out in flight. But what adding this metal piece does do is that it doesn't allow it to separate like that. So you have to slide it all the way through, but I feel like that's necessary for something that's this heavy duty, I guess. It needs to be strong. It can't wobble around. So we'll see how this works, you know? This is kind of what it looks like. It looks like it has a giant freaking railgun on the bottom, but that's not what it is. It's just a handle so that you can throw it, right, and then stop your handle, and then it'll slide its way out and continue flying and everything. But this can also be part of a stand, I suppose, like this thing right here on the bottom, but I don't know. I'll have to build a stand separately. I don't think we'll be able to finish it in January, but we might be able to finish this entire project mid-February, mid to late February. So next time, I think we got the handle done. We got the increased tension in the landing gear done. So we solved a lot of problems today. Even though it might not seem like that much, it is still quite a lot. Next time I may or may not panel this over the weekend just outside of these streams, but hopefully the intent is that the bottom will be done by next stream, by next Friday. And I guess next week we will start work on the vertical stabilizers. I think I got a comment there. I like it. Was the rubber band necessary, or would it work with just the paper clip rail and handle? Also, does this one have magnets in it for a stand? Okay, so two questions that I got, and my answer to the first one is that the rubber band was not necessary for the actual launching rig here. The rubber band was attached to the forward fulcrum of the front nose gear, and by increasing the tension there, we increased the effectiveness of the landing gear, because what was happening before was that the nose was collapsing. When I dropped the plane on the table, the nose gear would collapse, right? So if you increase tension on that fulcrum, it'll pull it so that it becomes nose level, right? That's what the elastic band was for. Now, okay, let me move this down a little bit. The elastic band was not critical to the launching structure here. But what was nice was that I integrated two things, right? I integrated two functions into this little frame here. One is the elastic band, right? That's going to help the nose gear support itself. And second is that this rail provides structural support for this little handle launch mechanism thing, right? So it's combining two functions into one component, which is a big no-no in real life, because that's failure. Even though you can create a very efficient design, you just got to make sure that it works all of the time. And usually that's not the case in industry. But anyways, that's kind of the thinking behind all of this right now. The rubber band is solving the nose gear problem, and the frame itself helps that, and also provides a rigid, rail structure here for this handle to guide along, So that's kind of what we're doing here. Again, if you have any questions, let me know and I'll try and answer them. But I think there was a second question was, okay, so also does this one have magnets in it for a stand? The answer is no. I plan on making a stand for this, but it's gonna probably not go through magnets. You definitely could. You could add magnets and magnetize this, right? It could attach to this paper clip, which actually I could demonstrate right now. So I have a bar, huge, massive bar of magnets here. This will stick. It's just a matter of mounting it. I don't think this is strong enough, but I don't plan on mounting magnets on this design because it's already very heavy. I think what I'm going to do is probably just use 2 prongs in the back that's going to stick somewhere in here, and it's going to just really tightly, it's going to fit inside, and it's going to be rigid, absolutely rigid, and we'll have a stand that essentially looks like this. It comes out here and goes down to the center here. So no magnets. It's just going to be a mechanical joint this time because we need to save weight, right? This plane is already super heavy and I don't want to add unnecessary weight to it. So that's kind of where we are right now with this design. Again, I might do some additional paneling work offline, just by myself, and I'll show you guys the updates in the next stream for sure. But the intent is that next time we meet, we'll probably be able to get started with the vertical stabilizers, which are the final feature of this aircraft design that we need to really get correct and get it right, So that's pretty much it for today. Again, if you're watching at a later date, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at ben.fellow if you have any questions or, for your own projects and things like that. And with that said, stay safe, stay healthy out there, and we'll talk again next week on Friday. And, I'll do another live stream, and hopefully we can get some good progress going for this aircraft, especially with regards to the vertical stabilizers, which are pretty important. So with that said, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, work on your own projects, continue to do so. Send out any questions you have, and thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys